A lot better when I was in Harrison though, because in Fayetteville's a college town, and I'm 28, and I look like this. It's fine. But the good thing now is it's summer. All the college kids are gone, so I go from being like a hard 2 to like a medium 6. I'm gonna fucking clean up on last call. No. I've been told that joke in forever. I haven't told of it. I've been single for a while. I've been single for so long, I'm afraid the only way I'm going to find a man is if he breaks in my apartment and I just make him stay. Dating is weird though. I used to use Tinder. Got some fans in the house. Tinder, I will say, for anybody here who's using Tinder in Mountain Home or Harrison, it does get better. You gotta expand your search criteria. It's not great around here. No, but I get a lot of weird messages on Tinder. One time a guy just messaged me. He was like, "Face fuck?" ? And it didn't work out because I was busy Thursday and he had to think Friday. Guy one time messaged me my favorite thing I've ever gotten of all time, and it's every question every lady wants to hear from a strange man on the internet. And it's, do you squirt? I think it's important to be very honest when you're dating online. So I told him, I was like, yes, but it's only after I eat Taco Bell. Things are going pretty well for us, you guys. I think he's gonna propose soon. I'm just kidding, he unmatched me immediately! I was too weird for the guy asking women if they squirt on the internet! Now that you guys have a little introduction as to who I am as a person. I'm going to tell y'all, it's going to be a long story, I want you to stick with me, but it is true. I'm going to tell you guys about the dumbest thing I've ever done is have my heart broken. Last year, around this time of year, met a guy on Tinder, and his name was, we'll call him Ryan because that's his real name. Met Ryan on Tinder and we had a lot in common, and it went really well. We actually met up for an actual date that was not at my apartment at 2 in the morning. And the first date went so well. It was one of those dates where you go home that night and you're like, you look at your cat and you're like, listen, you're not going to have to eat my body when I die alone in this apartment. She was happy with me, sad for her, but things went really well when we dated, talked, whatever you want to call it, for about 6 weeks. And then at about that time, he ghosted me. You know what ghosting is? That's where the guy kills himself, right? I'm just kidding. Ryan is fine. I understand how these things work, so I moved on. A couple months later, me and my best bud, JJ, decided we're going to go and celebrate the end of his first semester of law school. So we go to this really great place in Fayetteville. I don't think they have them around here. It's like this little Australian place. It's called Outback Steakhouse. Very fancy. Now, like most comedians, I have a lot of social anxiety out of doing this. And so I did what any good person would do, is I got violently high before I went to Outback Steakhouse. Wasn't a great idea because I get very weird when I smoke too much weed. But at first it was going very well. I was on very high, and I go up to the hostess, I'm like, hey, you table for 2. She's like, hey, here's your buzzer. It's going to be 20 minutes. Perfect. So I go over into the corner, and I'm just like doing what a person does. I'm like scrolling through pictures of my cat on my phone. She is so good, you guys. And I'm scrolling, and out of this part of the room, I hear, hey, Taylor, what are you doing here? And I look over, and it's Ryan. And I just look at him, and I would love to say that it had something funny or hilarious or like quirky, or not quirky, that's not the word, whatever, to say to him. But I didn't, and instead I looked at him for 5 seconds and made eye contact and didn't say a word. And we're going to count that down so you guys know how weird it was.
God.
And then I say, I don't know. What else would I be doing at an Outback Steakhouse?
Taxes.
It's fine. I'm sure we'll cover this. It's a big restaurant. Nobody's going to be our server. So we sit down. Of course, he is our server. And he takes our order, and I decide at this point I should start drinking.
Oh boy.
Great idea, you guys. And he takes our order, and I ask him, I was like, hey, are you going to come back with our food, or are you just going to tell me that you are?
Ouch.
He did not think that was as funny as you guys did. Because he just sent back like another server. Cool, dude. So my feelings are hurt and I can admit it's probably a little silly, but I had a long week of work. I was tired, I was high, and I was drunk at this point. And it's like 6 p.m. at this Outback Steakhouse. So a lot of emotions to be feeling at 6 p.m. at an Outback Steakhouse. So okay. So we finish our food, and I have to go do comedy at a venue across town. So I take an Uber, and I get into the Uber, and for some reason I just start hysterically crying. My feelings are so hurt, and I'm just full of just like prime rib and sadness. And so for some reason I think that my Uber driver wants to hear about this guy, but they don't, and they just turn the music up. There are a lot of instances where Fleetwood Mac's Rhiannon is like gonna cure whatever ails you. This was not one of those moments. So I get to this place called Nomads, I go up and I do comedy, and it is not going like it is tonight. Nobody's laughing. It's very terrible. I get off stage, and my friend's like, oh, you're a very bad night. Let's keep drinking. I kept drinking. So I kept drinking, and at some point they're like, oh no, we've messed up. And they put me in an Uber, and they sent me on my way home. I convinced that Uber driver, a little more persuasive. I'm like, hey, can you stop at this liquor store? So I grabbed a bottle of gin. Thankfully, from about this point on, I'm spared the rest of the actual memories. And I just have like flashpoints of where my night went from there. At one point, at about, I'd say 4 a.m., I decided I need to exit my second floor apartment, fell down the stairs, and I'm laying there on the landing, and my neighbor pops her head out the door, and she's like, hey, are you okay? And I just go, no, and she shuts the door. Like an American hero, I crawl up the stairs, get back into my apartment. And apparently at some point I decided that my bangs were too long.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
I wake up a few hours later, it's 7 a.m., still drunk, because I work kind of an insane job. And one of my customers is very needy and is calling me on a Saturday at 7 a.m. And I answer the phone, I say, hey Jeff, that's also his real name, but he's a good guy, so like you don't have to hate him. I say, hey Jeff, give me like 20 minutes, I'm gonna call you back, I gotta take care of something. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get it together, I gotta be an adult for like 5 minutes. And so I go and I'm like, okay, I gotta get some food on my stomach. And so I go and start some toast, I'm gonna put some water on my face, I'm gonna brush my teeth, feel like a human. And I go into the sink and it's just full of hair.
Oh,
I'm like, oh no. I've never been ashamed to look at myself in the mirror before. It's an emotional low, like one I can't describe. And I'm trying to kill myself. So, I'm okay. So, after the phone call, I go and assess the damage. Not great. I had to do a walk of shame into a smart style on a Saturday morning because of a guy named Ryan who works at Outback Steakhouse. I would love to tell you guys that's where this story ends, that I have that was this ends in me killing him. No. I would love to tell you that's where the story ends, that I had enough self-worth and self-esteem to be like, hey, you know what, this guy really doesn't matter that much. He's obviously not that into you, it's fine. But I don't.
Oh boy.
So a couple months later, I had shaved my whole leg, top of the big toe, top of the other big toe. Thank you. My name's Taylor. And I was out with some friends, and he hits me up. He's like, hey, and it's like a very sincere text. He's like, hey, things didn't really end the way I wanted to with us. I would really love to see you again. And, you know, I really had a moment in my life. I was like, I gotta decide what I want to do. And so I went over there and then had sex. And so we we're hooking up, and he has a great time, I guess. And at the end of it, I tell him, I'm like, hey, like, listen, if I understand, like, you're not gonna be my boyfriend. I'm not dumb, but like, you can't like treat me just like, you know, a piece of shit. And then like when you want me, you just text. He's like, I'm really honest with you right now. I don't really like you that much, but then when I text that you'll come over. It's a very mean thing to say while you're still inside of somebody.
Oh, damn. Oh.
This is true, you guys.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'm gonna leave, and I'm a little drunk, and I leave the apartment, get into an Uber. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of win this one. I'm gonna get him back. And so I got on my phone, and you guys heard of a glitter bomb? Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a fantastic idea. When you're drunk, autofill on your phone is not your friend. 4 business days later, I had the flu, very sick. I get sent home from work. I'm walking up the stairs, and I see this tube is sitting by my door. And I'm like, hell yeah, the book I ordered from Amazon is here.
Oh, no.
So I pick it up, I walk in my apartment, dude, everybody does when they first walk in their apartment. I say, hey Margot, my cat, you're so beautiful and good. Did you like the YouTube videos I left on for you this morning? I told you guys, this whole story is true. And then I say, hey, you know, I got this book in the mail. It's about this murder. It happened in Arkansas, but don't worry, it's across the state. They thought they caught the people that did it, but they didn't, and they put these guys in jail for a very long time. So if people still kill these kids, they're still out there. We're gonna sleep with the lights on. And she was fine with it because she's very good. So I go and I get into my kitchen and open this tube, which turns out to just be glitter everywhere. It's in my face, it's on Margot, it's in the sink, it's in the bathroom. I'm like still finding glitter from this thing. And I just like blowing up in my face. I'm like, God damn it, I could have bought some fucking prime rib for this. So ideally that would be where the story ends, but it's not. A couple months later, after this, this was like in April, he texts me, and he's got a cat. And so we're talking about our cats. And it starts out very friendly, not like sexual or anything. And I'm like, okay, like maybe we can be friends, like we did have a lot in common. And eventually he's like, hey, we should go see this movie together. I'm like, perfect. And so I get to the movies and he stands me up like a teenager. Really defeating to still have the problems of a 14-year-old at 28, you guys. So okay, this is fine. And then a couple weeks later, he texts me again. He's like, hey, you should come over. I'm like, okay. Once again, guys, just toe to toe. Like I can't, this doesn't happen that often. You gotta seize the day when it happens. So I go over there and we talk for a little bit and then we start having sex. And then in the middle of it, and when I say in the middle of it, or it's not like a natural pause in things, it's very much like. And then he tells me like, hey Taylor, I just think that you should really know that I have a girlfriend right now. What the fuck, Ryan?
God.
I was like, okay, I'm officially done with this, no more. And so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna win this one, this is gonna be a battle, I'm always gonna lose, he's a terrible person, I'm gonna leave with what little dignity that I have left. Now originally there was a part of this joke, much different version, that existed that kind of ended when I had the flu. And I've been telling it, I've been working on it in Fayetteville, and Fayetteville's not that big of a town. And then the next day after this happened, and I'm going to show you guys this, so you know that this is a real thing that happened to me. I'll show it to one of y'all here. I usually try to have this pulled up, but here we are. I get the best text that I've ever gotten in my entire career as a comic. I'll just let you, so you can tell that's a real conversation with somebody. He tells me, hey, I need you to stop using my name in your joke. I know this is inopportune timing considering what happened last night. No shit, Ryan. But management isn't happy because word keeps getting back to the restaurant. I change the name. Guys, I'm a reasonable, mature adult. So I say, ha ha ha. And he said, it's affecting my professional life at the Outback Steakhouse.
Professional life.
And then I told him, I'm going to treasure this moment for the rest of my life.